Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Report on Channels Television. I am Chris Lems. Today, the issue of power supply takes center stage as consumers cap its Ikeja Electric over outrageous bills. Also, with a few more cases of COVID-19 reported in Anambra State, Governor Willie Obiano wants interstate border closure closely monitored. Join us for these and more on Eyewitness Reports. Before the recently eased lockdown of some states in the country, including Lagos, Ogun, and the FCT, residents of Isheri, Opik, and Arepo communities who thought they could enjoy some calm moments at home with their loved ones had that plan botched due to inadequate supplies of electricity. However, when the bills came, some were handed 61,000 naira for a 3-bedroom apartment, others 46,000, and some 11,000 naira by Ikeja Electric. Meetings were held with the management of the discos, but not much has been done, according to the residents. Well, we reached out to the management of Ikeja Electric for some answers to the numerous questions posed by the residents. Also, Eco Disco reacts to the issue of tariff increase as bills take a hike. Join us. Power supply to the residents of Isheri, Opik, and Arepo communities has been quite unpredictable for a period of time, and this worsened during the lockdown when a lot of people were at home. However, when the bills came, it was nerve-wracking and unbelievably high for the residents who are yet to have prepaid meters.
I don't go allow her 4 times, more than 4 times. Say, come and shake our house, please. I don't have anything for us.
These residents of Isheri and Lofi cannot understand the message from Ikeja Electric. She's been charged 61,000 naira for a single month for a 3-bedroom apartment, as against an equally high 30,000 naira which she usually got. It's a flat rate, says these other residents, who claims the transformer has a metering system which is never read.
This month, there wasn't kind of light for more than a week. And they brought 46,000. Then how did they come about that amount? So what we expect from them is they should come down to this transformer and be coming to take the readings so that they will do the normal mathematics. Then we know the amount to pay.
At the Bola Tinubu estate further down the road, officials of the various estates and residents association in Opik, Isheri, and Arepo are gathered to discuss the many troubles Ikeja Electric is allegedly putting them through and efforts they've made to fix the challenges.
Since last year, we've been experiencing this, and it was even worse from period of August last year to present moment. In December, there was significant improvement. We have to say this. And for 3 weeks in December, we had good service. We don't know how it happened, but we've tried to inquest from the Ikeja Electric why they could not continue this provision or sustain this provision. But since then, it has been very, very poor. Not just poor, very poor.
This year, that was March this year, when they also suspected that the community was getting apprehensive and people might likely resort to violence. So there was a meeting that was called by them. And together with the resident from Opik, because they supply the entire stretch with the same grid line, we went to a meeting at Alausa. And in that meeting, we have the head of operation, you have the head of equipment, and then you have the PRO, who are their top management staff. They were at the meeting. And we had the ESCOs of the 2 communities, the ESCO of Opik, Isecom, and then the ESCO of ACCDA, which is Arepo, Central Community Development Association. And we agreed. We agreed that they told us that they had infrastructural problems. And that was the main reason why they could not fulfill obligation in terms of regular supply of power to the 2 communities.
Customer service of this guy of Ikeja Electric is so bad that it's like they have a programmed response to you. When you go to them for anything, the first thing is that go and pay your bills. This bill I'm contesting it doesn't matter to them. They believe that ultimately you will still have to pay those bills. You understand? This is not supposed to be so. It's only in a monopolistic economy that you can get this kind of attitude. If we are paying money, you should give us quality service. Now, if there's any reason for us not to be able to get that service, you let us know upfront. You understand? I mean, just like the case of load shedding that was agreed before. The days we are not supposed to have light, we will not even ask for it at all. We already zeroed our mind that today we're not going to have power. Now, the days that you are not expecting power, you won't have it. And nobody will say anything. You will call their officers, they won't pick your call. They get free money without providing the services. And you see, it's like we are on one chance.
First is that of poor infrastructure, which is a major issue they've had to contend with, to which they claimed they have also made substantial financial contributions and support.
There are instances where they will tell you transformer cables have been pilfered. We would have to contribute money on our own to replace such cables. And at the end of the day, what do we get? Poor service. Instances where poles will be slanting and they will require replacement. I will tell you, yes, we are going to replace it, but guess what? We don't have it installed. Technically speaking, they are telling you if you need another pole, make your private arrangement.
Is there no way that IKDC should have given us a human face in spite of all this infrastructure, power infrastructure we have provided by ourselves that is supposed to be their responsibility? How are we getting any form of compensation from IKDC? But all our effort was never heeded to.
We reached out to the management of Ikeja Electric for their response to the issues raised. The Chief Technical Officer first addressed the issue of the outrageous bills being pushed to the residents of Isheri.
Billing issues, electricity, as we all know, it's emotional, it's emotive, and it's social. Billing issues seems to be one of the things that customers keep complaining about, and they have a valid right to do that. But in terms of the billing issues, we're also aware that sometimes you don't want to take it as a collective, it's not a collective aggregation of complaints. Some are on the bill, some are over billed. So in terms of the billing issues, I think what we normally do is that if a customer has a challenge, we have different platforms by which you can formally and legally engage us, and then they will do the investigation and ensure that whatever needs to be done will be done. But one of the things the regulators has also done is to ensure that the DISCOs accelerate the provision of meters through the meter asset provider. And so one of the things we will encourage our customers is to key into that scheme. Ikeja Electric has its well-defined map process, key into the scheme, and ensure the customers are metered. And one of the focus of this organization is to ensure that we accelerate that scheme so that these issues of estimated billings are a thing of the past. I don't think everybody will bill in this situation, but please, if you feel that your bills are probably not aligned, you can, we have there's a business unit that overlooks that area in Shomolu Business Unit. We have undertaking offices also. The customers can please walk up to the office. We have the email platform. We have a customer service number that you can call, make your complaints. You will get an SR number, and I am sure those issues will be addressed and dealt with.
On the poor power supply situation being experienced by the various communities on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and the inability of Ikeja Electric to meet up with its obligations, an agreement reached on load shedding. Engineer Olajide gives insights to the position of fence.
Traditionally, there has been an issue because the feeder service in that vicinity seems to be one of the longest feeders on this network. And the source of that feeder is from a station we call Okearo Injection Substation. In order not to bore you or to go too detail, what is happening is that we have constraints. And you know, in the power sector, there are different players. There's Genco, there's transmission, there's distribution. For you to get power as a customer, everybody looks at the disco. That's the last man you can see. But at different values of the upstreams, there are different challenges and constraints. And particularly on these axes, we have both a distribution challenge and a transmission challenge at the upstream. And we're working with TCN, we're working with the value stakeholders to ensure that we bring this situation to board. Just recently, some weeks ago, we had a chat even with the state government to see on how we can collaborate, because the solution to that place is to have another transmission station situated around the Bega axis or around the Kara axis that can help us break the load and push powers and radiate new feeders and push power into that community. There's a lot of deliberation that is going on. There's a lot of consultation, and even the state government is also willing to help. And I can only appeal to the customers to just be a little bit patient. We're not folding our hands doing nothing. There's a lot of things we're doing to ensure that I can actualize that transmission station. And you know, when you are talking about actualizing a transmission station, TCN has to be in the party, because the kind of transmission station that will relieve that place is to bring a 132 kV line and step it down through a power transformer from the TCN end, where you can now allow you to radiate 33 kV feeders, or further break it down where you can radiate 11 kV feeders to be able to address those technical challenges. Be that is made, there's a lot of collaboration going on, and we can only appeal for them to try and understand with us. One of the issues that a palliative measure which we created, knowing fully that having a 24-hour supply, or maybe a 10-hour or 15-hour or 18-hour supply on a daily basis was becoming difficult, was to try and segment that network into two, where we can allow a part of the network to have close to between 16 to 20 hours in a day. And we now do a load shedding program and allow the other segment to happen. And be that as it may, that has been going on successfully until I think the last 1 or 2 weeks, where we started getting some issues again on the law from there. So what we need to do is that some of the complaints, and my team is also going to have a session with them this week to try and see whether there are some strategic bottlenecks again that is causing these feeders not to allow them to enjoy their own day off. And we will investigate that and ensure that, that equity and stability is there. The network is not, it's our responsibility to do, but for Arepo, it's something that has to go pari passu with Transmission Corporation of Nigeria for us to be able to finally resolve that problem.
Similarly, some customers of Eco Electricity are worried that service providers may have secretly hiked electricity tariff as against next directive that review of tariffs be suspended during this period of the COVID-19 pandemic. In his response, the General Manager, Corporate Communications of Eco Electricity Distribution Company dismisses the claim. He says residents enjoyed a lot of supplies during the lockdown.
There's no hike in tariff at all. You know, immediately this pandemic started, most companies in the power industry, we quickly went down to the drawing board to see how there will be a kind of respite on the part of our customers. And then the regulators, NEC, equally came into to say we should not increase tariff. Before now, the case of tariff increase has been on the table, but it was temporarily suspended. So to say there is an increase, there's none. There's a tendency for people to definitely complain because they've never had it so good. Electricity has been there. And when you have enough electricity given to you, it's simple mathematics that when the bill comes, it will go up a little. Because prior to this time, when there was no shutdown, you may not be at home, you go to work. If you are not at home, there's no reason for you to consume much energy apart from your refrigerator that will be working 24/7. But if you are home, there's a tendency for you to be on your computer. There's a tendency for you to watch television. Everything, air conditioner will be on. Probably you need to iron your clothes or whatever. Then the pumping machine, because you are consuming a lot. The pumping machine, which of course consumes most of your energy. Pumping machine, electric iron, then air conditioner. So when you are home and you need all this comfort, definitely the consumption will go up. And when the bill comes at the end of the month, you should expect it to naturally just go up too.
Inadequate power supply, estimated bills, lack of prepaid meters, tariff reviews are issues that have beclouded the electricity value chain since privatization occurred. Unfortunately, none of these issues have been resolved after over 5 years. This clearly demonstrates how not to solve problems. While it is expected that businesses make profit, it mustn't be at the expense of the consumers, whom the system has stripped of the right to make choice of preferred service provider. The consumer deserves to be protected and should be given that protection. With more cases of COVID-19 reported in Anambra State, the governor is not happy and had gone round the borders to see things for himself. Well, in spite of the lockdown order in place in the state, the governor could not believe his eyes and was shocked at the surge of people from neighboring states as well as high vehicular activities. Join us for this.
The fight against the coronavirus has been tough. And when Anambra State recorded its first case on March 11th, the government became more decisive and imposed a market shutdown and a sit-at-home order, border closure, among other preventive measures. The Ministry of Transportation was giving a mandate to work day and night to ensure that movement is restricted, while the security agencies enforced compliance.
The state governor has directed that our border remained locked, and we have been monitoring that. We came here and we discovered that there are still some leakages in the borders, and the governor has done well. The SSAs and the political appointees, so to say, have been assigned to various borders. This evening, we impounded several cars coming in, some from Kano, some from Kaduna, some from Abuja. But the surprising thing still is that they still cross the borders. And I just decided to mount a roadblock here to see what is happening. And from what we gathered, most of the drivers, as they have told you the story, you knew the story that they narrated, how they crossed the borders. And this is the most unfortunate. I do not expect this. However, we must tighten up, encourage our security agents who are at the borders, and we are sure from what is happening now, everybody will have to sit up.
At night, several task force teams went on an inspection tour to ensure proper procedures are followed. On one of such occasions, the Deputy Chief of Staff stormed the Onitsha and Amansia borders to ascertain the level of compliance with the closure.
During our course of our job, that some of the vehicles, the trucks, after loading the passengers, they will drop them over there, and they will not try to cross over, but we usually intercept them.
Anambra State is in safe hands, like you can see. We know our people, Nigerians, I don't know what they will tell them. Even with over 1 week warning, people are still moving by this time. So the challenges, I think we're on top of it, because we have a working governor who has to take this step for the SA and the SSS in the state to work in collabo with the Nigerian police, the civil defense, the army, the whole forces in the country to make sure that we will stand firm and fight against this COVID-19.
The usual congestion at the bridgehead axis of Onitsha continued in spite of the lockdown. This remained a major source of worry to the state government, considering the risks associated with the mass movement.
Look at the crowd here, you know something is not easy. But now, no road, no everything. We are just suffering. All the barrels, they are suffering. Both Okada people, they are blocking road here and there. So may government run and help us so that everything will be easy.
This has to end, and so the State Commissioner of Police, John Abang, and his team swung into action to see how they could salvage the situation. It's a Herculean task. Every vehicle has to be checked before passage is granted. The traffic management exercise is a two-way process. The Commissioner of Police in Delta State is also present, taking charge of the other side of the road. They both put heads together to carry out the task.
We are here to synergize, collaborate to ensure free flow of essential items and vehicles plying this road, and to see how we can control the human traffic. Because between the Delta State and Anambra State, the federal government has directed that nobody should do cross-border movement. But you can see, because of the Onitsha market, you saw the crowd we met here. If we didn't use the wisdom we did now, somebody will fall in the River Niger, and the attention will shift to somewhere. So that's why we are basically here to ensure that there's free flow of traffic and to synergize on better plans for the next day and thereafter. We should learn to obey orders in Nigeria. The presidency has directed that no cross-border movement, but you can see the flouting.
We are here to ensure that this issue of interstate movement is being curtailed. Only those that are supposed to move in and out of the states in accordance with the directives of the presidency and the two state governors will be allowed. Social distance.
As they plan on synergizing to bring the situation under control, the governor also shows up.
Baby, stop them at that corner. I told you that. If you do that, they will not come here. Before they stick a drum,
The long queue of heavy-duty trucks from Oga Junction and stretches to the bridgehead, and massive movement of people leave him in shock.
You say you're walking up here. It's a bloody waste of time, money, and everything.
He is miffed by what he describes as a very porous border situation. He directs the Commissioner of Police to block off the pedestrian aisles on both sides of the bridge to reduce human traffic and ensure that only vehicles with essentials are allowed through the bridge.
Very unhappy about what I'm seeing here. See people taking left and right. You know? Yes, maybe the vehicles are being checked. That's fine, but see the human traffic on the pedestrian side of the Niger Bridge. No control. That is clearly unacceptable. And I've directed the city on what to do, and I expect him to do that immediately. I'll be here again, I won't announce, surprise like this, and see how they're doing.
He thereafter moves to the Amansia border, the boundary between Anambra and Enugu State, where he receives briefing from the officer in charge of operation from the Anambra State Police Command. He leaves them with an instruction.
The shutdown starts by 8, but make sure that they start clearing before that, because if you wait before 8, you might have a lot of on top of the bridge.
It is not only curfew that you are enforcing. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
We have a complete lockdown. That means the whole day and night. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
The only vehicles that pass here are essential vehicles carrying essential items. You know that?
Yes, sir.
And the only people that will be cleared here are people that are medicals, people that will help people.
Yes, sir.
Other than that, nobody will come there. Everybody is staying in their own state. For now, that's the directive.
The border closure is part of precautionary measures by the state government to tackle the COVID-19 spread, considering that Anambra has boundaries with 6 other states, including Enugu, Imo, Delta, Abia, Kogi, Rivers, with active cases.
Don't forget to be part of Eyewitness. Report on Channels Television by simply uploading your story to the Eyewitness portal on the Channels TV app, which you can download from the various app stores. Launch and swipe to reveal the menu and follow instructions on how to upload your story. Now let's see what you already posted for the week. Our first video shows a slum in Okpebi, in the heart of Ikeja, Lagos. Our eyewitness is concerned about the security threat this poses to the entire neighborhood. He claims all sorts of untoward activities take place in the area and would therefore want the security agencies to come comb it. Next is this video showing members of the National Youth Service Corps joining their voices together to preach the message of safety in this era of COVID-19. We all can make a better community by upholding the safety of each other. The next set of photos shows a slum called Aro Village in the Jakonde roundabout area of the Lekki Beach. The settlement was raised recently. Our eyewitness says the fire incident was started by two rival court groups. He adds that a number of persons died while others were injured as a result of the conflict. And finally is this video and pictures showing how erosion is eating deep into the lives of the residents and indigents of Achina in Anambra State. The people are worried that anytime soon they won't have anywhere to call home, and therefore implores the Anambra State government to please reach out to them and save them from the ravaging erosion. Those are your short. Kindly keep them coming. Till next week, when Eyewitness Report makes a return, I'll keep my eyes on you.